In this video, I'll be going over the data categorization tool by Altivise. We'll run through a couple of use cases, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll feel comfortable using the tool on your own data. Let's get started. So the first use case we're going to go through is inspired by a real case I did while I was in the consulting world. What we have here is a list of 100 large companies in the US, but what you could substitute this in for is any list of clients that your customer sells to, a list of suppliers, again, however it best fits your specific use case. But with this 100 large companies in the US, what we're going to go do is actually create a new slice of this data. And what I have here assembled on the right is a broad set of industries that we can categorize this and then hopefully run some analysis on. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I've actually omitted healthcare so that we can explore some of the capabilities of the data categorization tool. So let's get started by inputting the data we need to the tool. So first off, the items to categorize, we will highlight and select. Then we'll do the same with our categories, insert them here. And then we're going to add a little bit of context just so that the AI model understands exactly what the task is. So I'm going to quickly here discuss the additional settings available. However, for this demonstration, we won't be using these as they're not applicable. So first off, you'll see on the left that there is no kind of other, unknown, or not applicable. We've added this as an additional setting, which allows you to play around. And actually, you will get varying different results depending on, if you want to do other, unknown, or not applicable. Then obviously the ability to return on a new sheet if you need to keep your initial data set intact. And finally, rerun with training, which actually will open up a new sheet and allow you, once you get the results, to actually go through and correct the results and run it again, and this time with your additional input. But for the time being, I just want to stick to the categories here. So let's run analysis. Great, the results are in. You'll see that we got two different columns back. First off, we got our actual industry result returned. And then each result comes with a confidence score. And this confidence score reflects the, again, confidence that the model had in providing a given output, right? So super strong about the financials for AIG and just a tiny bit less confident about chemicals for AbbVie. All right, but the real magic begins actually when we sort by this confidence. So let's quickly execute that. Data set sorted by the confidence scores with the lowest confidence scores up top. And what you'll see here is the lowest confidence scores are actually all healthcare companies, which is a category I purposely omitted. Now, we forced the model to give a result back. If we had chosen that other or unknown or not applicable, we'd probably actually see these substituted in here. But we forced the model to pick a category. And when it has to pick between any of these that aren't really applicable, right, it doesn't know which one to choose. And we see, as a result, super low confidence scores. So again, should have been healthcare. If I run it again with healthcare in there, it would be included. But there's some other examples here where you'll see a vast majority of the data set, there's just a pure 100% confidence score. The whole point of the confidence score is not to nail 100% the first time each thing. It produces an output. You know which ones require your attention for further validation. So again, Boeing, industrials, probably the right answer, but the model may have been confused or thought, there's a slight chance that motor vehicles is the appropriate spot. It is a large vehicle or something like that. We could have seen some confusion in names. Perhaps this is why public supermarkets has such a low score on retailing. Again, all it points to is that's a quick thing to check. And if you look over the entire data set, this is approximately maybe 50, if we take anything below this point is maybe 10% of the data. And that's generally the split that we see across most data sets is the AI feels super comfortable with about 90% of the outputs and 10% of the outputs require additional validation. And again, how this is useful, let's say this is our list of clients that we sell to. We want to know what industries are we involved in. We just create a quick little pivot table. Industry, our count, and there we go. We have, with just a couple clicks, we have the from our initial list the number of companies in a specific industry created from scratch. I wanted to show how you can use this tool to create a new slice of data on a vast variety of data sets. For this case, I needed to understand which ocean basins these various vessels were applied to so that we could understand some basic dynamics in the market. So the way we accomplish that is we set up some categories of ocean basins. So we have the North Atlantic, South Atlantic, Indian, South Pacific, North Pacific, and Arctic, and those will be our categories. And then our items to categorize are actually the geographic coordinates. So let's get that in. So we have 464 vessels that we'll categorize, and our 7 ocean basins. And what we'll do is we'll categorize this vessel location according to ocean basin. Right. And again, I think for this one, we will just, I want to highlight the confidence score, so we will omit any additional categories. But I will say, if you run this, another good one to do is not applicable with this specific data set. What I figured out, right, is there's a bunch of oil vessels actually in the Caspian Sea, not in the ocean. Interesting little result there. But again, this is the sort of stuff that you'll need to play around and run the tool a couple times, perhaps, and investigate your data to really nail down. So let's run the analysis. All right. And we received our results. And just like the other use case, I think the first thing to do is actually just hop in and sort by confidence and see what we need to address. To describe the issues that it's running into, but what you'll see is with most of these entries, the ships are located in kind of inland seas, such as the top one is in the Sea of Marmara, a little south of Istanbul. And the model was just having difficulty kind of connecting that to the North Atlantic, as seeing as it's not a usual connection, even though technically that might be the correct answer. We see a couple of these others with the Red Sea, especially when a lot of ships were on transit, potentially up to or in between the Indian and Atlantic Ocean basins, a couple in the Persian Gulf. Another interesting one that was extremely relevant to my case is just, so as we see, if we just filter for Arctic, we see a lot of low confidence scores up there, and that is because the boundary between the North Atlantic and the Arctic is not purely defined, and so it's a hard one for the model to kind of determine whether it's North Atlantic or Arctic, and this is reflected thus in the confidence score that we see. All right, so again, just what is the purpose of all this? Again, with this new slice of data, it's super easy to then subsequently do additional forms of analysis. So again, we'll just quickly create a new pivot table. All right, and so again, with this pivot table, what we can analyze is that we see that most offshore oil vessels are either in the Indian or North Atlantic. This makes sense. The Indian includes the Persian Gulf, which is where a vast majority of the world's oil is produced. And then we have a lot of North Atlantic. Again, that's usually the North Sea production in Norway and the UK. So again, we were able to create that new slice of data with just a couple clicks. My hope from this video is that you're able to go out and create new slices of your data. We're always super eager to hear how you use it. Let us know. Thanks. Bye.